In this video, we're going to take a look at an object-oriented program question from paper 4 for the Cambridge Computer Science. So let's go ahead and take a look at this question and get some information. Hidden Boxes is a game where players hide boxes in a virtual world. Other players search for the boxes. Object-oriented techniques must be used to program the game. The program has a class named Hidden Box. So already they've given us the class name, and the class has the following properties. It has box name, which is the name of the box, entered by the creator of the box, like blue box 1. Then it has creator, the player name of the creator of the box, maybe girl 25, date hidden, the date the box was created. In this case, January 1st, 2019. The location of the box is inside the attribute or property game location. Now it's in the format 2 letters followed by 4 numbers. So that's an example they give us is LL4561 and YE4561. So we know right away that's going to be a string. Last finds, a 2-dimensional array that stores the player name of the last 10 players to find the box and a comment that each player leaves about the box. So I love 2D arrays, so that will be a good example to get into here. And then a Boolean value true means the box can be found, meaning it's active. False meaning the box cannot be found, inactive, and they call that property active. So I'm assuming that means the box has already been found. We'll find out later as we get more information and we program. So part A is worth 4 marks. So, a little more than 5% of the actual points you can get on the Cambridge exam for paper 4. Write the program code for the class Hidden Box. Declare the properties as private. Your properties or attributes should always be private. It says do not write the constructor or any other methods. Well, that's super easy. So let's switch over to our code and get those 4 marks. So we're inside our program here. So we're going to go ahead and create our class. And that was Hidden Box. And that was given to us, and so were the attributes. Your attributes should always be private. This is not any different than dimensionalizing a variable. The difference is instead of using dim, you're using private, and each object we create is going to have these properties or these attributes. So we have box name, that is going to be a string based on the description. We have the creator, the person who created the box, that's going to be a string. Then we have the date it was hidden, that can be done as a date. We have the game location where it is located, that's going to be a string. Now, it has a 2D array for the people who last found the box, and they called that last finds. Now, it's a 2-dimensional array, and it has the last 10 players who found the box, and they left a comment about it. So that means we're going to need 10 rows, 1 row for each player, and we need 2 columns because they're going to leave a comment. And because it has the name of the people and they're leaving a comment, that's going to be of the string data type. And the last one we need is active, and that is a Boolean value. So with that, we have declared our class, we have written the attributes, and we just picked up 4 points. And now that we've written the class, we can move on to the next fundamental element of object-oriented programming, which is the constructor. So the constructor takes the box name, the creator, the date hidden, and the game location as parameters. It sets the box to be inactive, initializes all the array elements as empty, because remember, it has that 2D array, so we're going to go ahead and make it empty. Now, because it is a string, we're just going to type in empty for that string. So it says edit your program from part 2A, and that was where the question starts. It was number 2 on the test. Write the constructor for Hidden Box. Do not write any of the other methods. Save your program, copy and paste the program into the evidence doc. So one thing that's different from 9608 that showed up in 9618 is this evidence document. All you're going to do after you write your code, you're going to copy it and you're going to paste it into the evidence document. We'll talk more about that in a future video. For right now, let's switch over to our code and write the constructor. All right, so we're back in our code and we're going to write the constructor. So That's going to be public sub new. That is the name of the constructor in VB.NET. In Java, it's the name of the class. So it's just going to be public hidden box. But we'll take a look at that in a moment. Let's get this written for now. So we're going to do the box name as string. That's going to be one parameter. The other parameter that was taken was the creator. So we'll do C as string. The next thing was the date that it was hidden. So we're going to do, let's see here, we'll do, that's just D as date. And then we're going to do the new game location because it's going to give us the game location, and that was a string as well. So those are the four parameters. Yeah, four parameters that are being accepted here. So now what we have to do is assign them to each of the attributes. So box name is going to be set to the parameter value of bin. Creator is going to be set to the parameter C. The date hidden, that's going to be set to D. And then the game location is going to be set by the parameter that is passed game location. Now there was some other instructions that told us. It says what we need to do is we need to set active to false. So we're going to do active equals false. Then it wants us to initialize that 2D array for it to be empty. Now because it's a string, we're just going to set the string value to empty, and that would be acceptable. When you're using a 2D array, you definitely need a nested for loop here. So I'm going to do 1 to 10. Now, if you're including index 0, you could do this for I equals 0 to 9. That would be acceptable too. I think it's easier for me as a programmer, and some of my students agree, to skip over index 0. So I 1 to 10, that's going to handle the rows. Now we need J to handle the columns, and that's going to be 1 to 2. And then we're just going to do last finds. We're going to set the row, and that column, we're going to set it equal to empty. And once we do that, we are done. Make sure we have two next statements here. We do. And just like that, we are done with our constructor. Let's go ahead and take a look at it in Java. All right, so far we've picked up 8 points, more than 10% of the points we can earn on our paper 4 exam. Let's keep pushing through. The class hidden box has two getter methods. Now these are also known as accessor methods, and you write these as get methods. So we have get box name and get game location. Edit your program and write the getter methods, get box name and get game location, in the class hidden box. Save your program, copy and paste the program code into the evidence document. Let's go ahead and write those get methods for this right now. We're still inside of our class, and that's where we're going to write those get methods. We're still inside the hidden box class, so that's going to be a public function. And remember, functions return a value, so that's why this is being written as a function. So we use get. That is the most common first word of a get method. What are we getting? We're getting the box name. What is the data type that's going to be returned when we get box name? Well, box name was a string. Then what we're going to do is we're simply going to return box name. And when we return box name, it will return the actual name when that object calls that, and it will return its name. Then we need another get method, and that is to get the location. So we're going to get game location here. I think that's what I called it. Let's see. Yep, game location. And that is going to not accept any parameters because get methods do not accept parameters. And then we simply return game location. Just like that, our get methods have been written. We just earned 3 points, increasing our total score. I think that brings us to 11 now. But let's switch over to Java and take a look at those get methods. So let's take a look at part D, which is worth 2 marks. The main program declares a 1D array named the boxes of type hidden box. So what we're doing is we're creating an array of objects called the boxes, and it's going to be of the data type hidden box, which was the class we created. The main program can store up to 10,000 elements as a local variable. So this 1D array can hold 10,000 objects. Let's talk about what is happening as we write the code. So we're back in our class. They want this to be added to our main program, so we're going to jump all the way down outside of our class. Here's our in-class statement. We're going to jump outside of our class, go and put this inside our main sub here. So what we want to do is they want us to do the boxes, 10,000 of them, and of the data type hidden box. Now I'm going to do new hidden box. This is going to generate an error, and I want to talk about this real quick. When you are creating an object, you must use the keyword new. And the reason you use the keyword new is because it's calling that constructor that is called public sub new. When you are creating an array of objects, you do not use the keyword new because the computer cannot generate 10,000 objects all at one time. Also, we need to make sure that we're passing those parameters. So even if I put parameters here, it's still not going to work. But if I get rid of new, that means I have an array, and then I can initialize each object separately. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Java code. Getting close to the end here, let's take a look at part D, part 2, and 3. The procedure new box takes the name, creator, date, hidden, and game location of the box as input, creates an instance of hidden box, and appends it to the end of the boxes. So when it says it appends it to the end of the boxes, what that means is it's taking the list of current objects and it's putting it at the end, not of the entire array, but of the objects that have been created. Write program code for the procedure new box, and then they want us to save and then copy and paste. And then after declaring the array, the main program calls new box, edit the main program to call new box. Let's go ahead, switch over, and code it now. So this procedure goes inside of our main program here. It goes outside of our class. So we're going to do public sub, and they called it new box. Now, we need to take in this array of hidden box objects. So we called it the boxes. We'll just call it the boxes again. And that's of hidden box. But then there's something else we need to take in, and that is the current box number, because the box number is going to correspond to the index here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do box number as integer, and we'll set box number equals 1. And that's because I'm omitting index 0. So box number is going to be 1. So we're going to put that there. And then because I want to overwrite what's at the current address of box number, instead of doing by val, I'm going to do by ref. And I'm going to do, it was box number, and that's going to be an integer. And because this is a sub, it's not going to have a return value. Now, we're going to do name as string. We need to get the creator, because we got to pass all this. When we call the constructor to create the object, the new box, we need to pass all this information to the constructor. And that's why we did all that earlier. So date hidden was date, and then we have game location. That's going to be a string. So what we're going to do is we're going to tell them to enter the name of the box, the creator's name, the date of the box of it being hidden, the date it was hidden, and then the location of the box. And then we're going to call the constructor. So let's go ahead and do fast forward so all that is done. So we've taken the input. What we need to do now is we need to assign that to an object. So the array was called the boxes, but I have to select what slot or index of the array that I'm creating an object with. And that's going to be a box number. And that's going to equal the new hidden box, because that was our data type. Now I have to pass the 4 things to the constructor. So we just need to double check the order. It is box name, creator, date, and game location. Okay, so it's in the same order. Just want to make sure it is, because it's got to be passed in the right order. So we're going to pass box name. We're going to pass the creator. We're going to pass date hidden. and we're going to pass game location. So that will create the new object. Now, back up here, we need to also do one more thing, and that's with box number. We assigned box number to 1. Because we assigned box number to 1, if we leave it as 1, we're going to overwrite this object. When we create a new box, this code's going to run again, but we need to make sure we get to the next box number. So what we're going to do is we're going to say num box, or the box number, not the number of boxes, but the box, not name, number is incremented by 1. And we can do that with the compound operator, plus equals 1. The other thing we need to do is actually go ahead and call this sub. So we're going to head back to our sub main. And right in here is where I'm going to call this. So I'm going to do new box. And it accepts 2 parameters. It accepts the boxes. So I'm going to type in the boxes. I put a comma, and then box number is what I'm passing down. And now that I've passed both of those down, they'll be accepted in public sub new box by these parameters right here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Java code. So when we take a look at the Java code, it's very similar. We dimensionalize some temporary variables. The one thing we do have is the scanner, and that's because in Java, when we're taking input, we need to import the Java utility scanner. We have the prompts just like we did in VB. But what you'll notice about this, here we call the constructor to actually create the object. But what you'll notice about this is that we have a return statement, that this isn't a sub. It is a function, and that is because in Java, you cannot do by ref. Now, there is a workaround to do by ref, but for Cambridge, Java can only do by val. It can only make a copy. So it makes a copy of the box array. It makes a copy of box number. If I just do box number equals box number plus 1, it's going to throw it away as soon as it bounces back up to my main method. So that's why we have a function here, is we need to update box number. So when I call this method right here, this function, I'm going to say box number equals new box, the box is box number. It allows me to get the input just like I usually do. It allows me to create the object, but what I'm going to be updating is the box number, and I have to do that with the return statement. Once again, Java will do by val, it will not do by ref. Now technically there's a workaround for it, but in this video we are showing you how to do, because it will only do by val, how you can update box number. And now we have reached the end, part E3 mark. So a lot of points able to be made here. So let's count how many points we have. Part A, 4. Plus 4 is 8. Plus 3 is 11. We picked up 2 points there, 13. Picked up 4 points there, 15. The 1 point for calling it, 16. So there are 19 points we can get here. 19 of the 75 points. A substantial percentage. Almost, not quite, but almost somewhere around 25%. But anyway, let's take a look at this last part. A new type of box is created. The new type of box is a puzzle box. So the key word here is a new type. That's telling us there's a new data type. That means there's going to be a new class. The class, and there it is, puzzle box inherits from hidden box. Puzzle box has the additional properties, puzzle text as string, solution as string. So we're going to have a base class or a super class, and we're also going to have a child class. So a base class, a super class, a parent class, all those are the same thing. That's going to exist here, and that's going to be hidden box. And then we're going to have a child class called puzzle box. So that's what we're going to have here. The constructor for puzzle box extends the constructor from hidden box to also take the values for puzzle text and solution, write program code for the class puzzle box. Not a problem. Let's switch over to our code and let's get this wrapped up. Writing the last part of code. So they called the class public class puzzle box. Now it inherits the hidden box class. Now, what does that mean when it inherits the hidden box class? That means it's going to take all these properties. It automatically has all these properties by default. It also has both of these get methods by default as well. So we could override them if we wanted to. It also has puzzle text. That's going to be a string because it's puzzle text. And then the solution. That will also be a string. Now, you'll notice this red line, and that's because it says class puzzle box must declare a subnew because its base class hidden box does not have an accessible subnew that can be called with no arguments. And that's okay. We're going to do that right now. This one can be a little tricky at first. So let's type it out, and let's talk about why we're calling all these parameters. We need to call, go ahead and type in sub here, we need to call the class that, or the, excuse me, the constructor that is inside the parent class or the super class. We need to call this constructor right here. It's not an option because I set these values, actually these four values I set inside this constructor. So I need to call that constructor. But because those attributes are private, I cannot directly access them. But that's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take box name and everything else as a parameter. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do by val bin as string. That stands for the box name. I'm going to do by val c as string. That's for the creator. I'm going to do by val d, and that was the new date, the date that it was hidden for the new object. Then we also need to accept when this public sub new is called. Can't forget new, that's very important. We also need to make sure that when this is called, that it also accepts the puzzle text as string, and that it also accepts the solution as a string. So we need to make sure it has that. Now you'll see public sub new, it says the first statement of the sub new must be a call to my base new, which means we need to call the constructor of the superclass that it inherited. It inherited hidden box, so we must call that constructor. When I accept box name and I accept the creator, the date it was hidden, and the puzzle, and the string, I'm going to pass the box name, I'm going to pass the creator, the date, to the other constructor. I'm forgetting one, and that is game location. I am forgetting game location as string. There we go. Okay, so now we can do my base, which means my superclass dot new. So my superclass, which is hidden box, is calling the constructor, which is the keyword new. It's calling that public sub new, and it needs to accept 4 parameters. That is going to be bin, that is going to be c, that is going to be d, and gl. Now you'll see that red line has gone away. The constructor inside the superclass will dimensionalize box name, creator, the date it was hidden, and game location. But inside this constructor, I have to set puzzle text and the solution. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to say puzzle text equals p, and then I'm going to say the solution equals s. I have my in sub and my in class. That right there is how you handle with inheritance calling the super constructor. So one more time, let me zoom in a little bit here. Yeah, that's pretty good. So public sub new, we have to accept all these parameters. That is not what the constructor is actually constructing. It takes these parameters, then it calls the constructor from the superclass, passing these arguments to parameters that we accepted right here, Then we're going to take these last 2 that the constructor accepted, and we're going to assign those to the properties of the puzzle box class. So let's switch over and take a look at the Java code. And now for the Java code, public class puzzle box extends. That is how you inherit in Java. We set up those two new properties, puzzle text and solution. Now our constructor, puzzle box, right here, which is the same name as the class. That's how constructors in Java work. We have to call that super constructor. We must pass box name, creator, date hidden, and game location to the constructor inside the hidden box class, because that constructor will assign box name, creator, the date that the object was hidden, and where it's currently located in the game. It's going to do that inside the hidden box constructor. Now, when we create a new puzzle box, this will be handled assigning those properties, and then this constructor specifically will assign puzzle text to the puzzle text property and the solution parameter we accepted to the solution property for the object. Hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to help the channel grow. Also, post a comment below. Let me know what your favorite part of object-oriented programming is, and we'll see you guys in the next video.